There we go. Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where you're tuning in from. Let's see here. Hello, hello, hello. I am so tired. Um, okay. And let me, okay. All right. All right. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, so just some context. Why am I tired? Uh, So, I'm currently working on the new website. Oh, gloss. Sorry. My makeup. There we go. Um, the I'm working on launching the new website for Herbalists Without Borders because I'm the executive director. So that's been taking up the majority of my time. And I've been working on creating a course for the manual for folks that come on board as coordinators. Um, and so it's been, yeah. So so I worked late doing that, but I feel like this is actually a really good experience because I want to create some pre-recorded courses with like quizzes and things like that for us for Urban Garden. And so since I've been experimenting with this new tool, I really like it. So it measures tracking, how long you stayed on the lesson, um, your grades. So yeah, it's just wonderful. So I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna use this for my own thing too. Um, so I'm excited. I'm excited. So yeah, so it ended up just being a late night working on that. We're trying to get Brian is helping me with that website, and so we're trying to get it launched. I'm hoping by the end of the week. So we'll see about that. But yeah, we actually had a lot of fun yesterday. We escaped for a few hours from working, um, and went over to the New York Botanical Garden uh, because I really wanted to check out Dr. Jessica B. Harris's poetry walk exhibit. Um, and I wasn't sure how long that's going to be around. I couldn't find anywhere where it says that they're when they're going to take it down. So I did not want to miss it. And so because I'm working on her book right now. I'm about 2/3 of the way. So it's called High on the Hog. I absolutely recommend it. Um, so if you haven't checked it out, definitely do so. And if you're like, no, I am, I don't necessarily want to read another book right now, then if you do have Netflix, check it out. It's called High on the Hog, and they actually made a four-part, I believe, yeah, it's a four-part docu-series um, on the book. And so they take you to the places discussed in the book and the foods discussed in the book. It's absolutely beautiful. So check that out if that's of interest. And it's all about like how the foods from Africa ended up in like just it's kind of history. How did it end up that in the United States? How did it end up like in the Caribbean? Why what was that flow of that interchange of foods and how a lot of those foods that originally came from Africa now became like staples in other regions, and so important to the culture. So it's a really really beautiful 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 book. Um, Amazing docu-series, and I wanted to see the poetry walk, and so we did film that. And what was great was that we filmed a walkthrough. um, so if you're in New York uh, and you haven't been to the New York Botanical Garden, like just check it out. Go, it's right next to the Edible Academy. um, and what was funny was that we decided we had never gone inside of the Edible Academy. I've been to, there's like a farm area there. They do a lot of farm to table stuff. And I've always been there. I've never gone inside the building. And so we went inside the building just out of curiosity, just to check it out. And I did not know there was a seed saving exhibit that was set up, and it was actually in conjunction with the poetry walk. So all the seeds of the plants that were shown in the poetry walk, they had their seeds in the exhibit. It was super cool. And something else they had the exhibit was glass gem corn, which was absolutely beautiful. And they were sorting it out because they're doing a big mosaic. Uh, so hold on, I'm gonna show you. I took a video. I posted it up on on our page on Facebook and in my own like social media, TikTok and oops, and Instagram. But it's beautiful, and they let us take them. But these are absolutely gorgeous. I'm trying to see how I can hold it so that you can really see it. So this is pink. Look at it, it's so shiny. It's so pretty. So there's I got pink. I tried to grab different colors because I'm gonna take these out. They were saying that these were great to use for popcorn, and I feel terrible using them for popcorn because they're so beautiful. Um, Here there's like one that's hard to hold these up. Here we go. There's some that are like it almost looks like it's gray, but it has like a purple, more of a purple color to it. This one is more like a green. Whoops. It's so weird to hold kernels like that. They're so beautiful. Hold on, let me see. Look at all the different colors. You could see the yellows and the oranges and the pinks and there's like purples and blues. It's so pretty. So pretty. I don't have the heart to pop these. Since our friends do have some land, I am thinking of gifting them a couple of seeds and seeing if it does well, because apparently it can grow here. Uh, and then the rest I might keep for, I have seeds that I use for seed displays when I do tabling at events for educational purposes. So I might just save a couple of those for that, so that people can see that there's colorful corn. It does exist, and I was so excited, so excited, and I got to actually see some of those ears of corn. Um, Let me see. Oops, sorry, froze for a second. Someone said it sounds like Indian corn from India. Maybe I know that they were calling it glass gem corn. Um, I have not checked to see where. There we go. Oh no, brightness too bright. There you go. So it was so pretty. So pretty. So I tried to get some video, and then I grabbed another one that was a little darker. Whoops. But they catch the light in such a gorgeous way. They're so beautiful. It was definitely really fun to check out, and the whole exhibit. So I did film the whole thing. Um, so I will be sharing that here. So just so that you see a little bit of it. Why do I keep clicking that? Sorry. But these are all. So hold on. Oh, there we go. Okra. And I didn't know that the seeds of okra actually come out from those little slits. I did not know that. I always thought it was like, you know, it just it like the fruit were to either get broken or digested or by the wildlife or something. And then I had no idea that they actually pop open on the sides and the seeds just spill out like that. Very similar to like milkweed pods and things like that. So it was really cool. And they were talking about they had little areas where they were talking about seed dispersal methods. Um, yeah, and they had all these different types of seeds. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, so they were showing that there are some seeds that have like the hairs, like dandelions and stuff, and cattails that they fly away. Um, and then some that stick to you, like burdocks. Um, and they stick to your, well, they would stick to fur, but they also end up sticking to our clothes. Um, and so I was cracking up because I have that set right there of those little seed um, of the life cycle of a seed. But yeah, it's super cool. So I really enjoyed that. I'm excited to show you guys. We're gonna be doing a whole video on that and the poetry and something else that when we were there, I swore that I was like, is that a mushroom? I just saw something across the lawn and it was just this big white lump and I ran over to it and sure enough, um, it's this giant mushroom, a puffball. Um, and so I put my hand just so that you could see how big it is and it was nice and it was ready, but I was like, yeah, I'll leave it here for the wildlife. But it was huge. It was absolutely huge. I've never seen a puffball that big. I've seen pictures of people finding puffballs that big, but never. I'm wondering if it's because of all the heavy rain recently. Um, yeah. So let me see. Oh, Indiana. Suzanne. Um, and what else? And then they were also giving these out. There we go. Um, so they called it Duca. And so it's a seed mix that you put these ingredients in. I'll share the ingredients. You put these ingredients in, and you then put them uh, on a medium pan, like a medium heat to just kind of just toast them a little bit, but you don't want to burn them. And then after you actually have to crush them into pulverize them as a powder. And then this is a seasoning that you can use. People add it to, they were telling us you can add it to yogurt, you can add it to meats, to anything, to rice, anything that's being prepared. And let me see here. So 2 tablespoons of sunflower seeds, 1 tablespoon of sesame seeds, 1 tablespoon pumpkin seeds, half a teaspoon of sumac, a 1/4 teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin seed, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And so this was the black peppercorns. So 3 to 4 peppercorns, it says. And add at home 1/4 teaspoon of salt or to taste. So, yeah, it says serve in portions as desired with oil, bread, hummus, yogurt. So, um, and that once you crush it and you make it into that powder to refrigerate it. So, um, yeah, it was really cool. I'll post that recipe up. I had to alter mine because I'm allergic to sesame and I'm allergic to sunflowers. So the seeds, I'm allergic to sunflower seeds and sesame seeds. So I had to, I made mine without that. I just added everything else, but except the sunflowers and the sesame. So, yeah, I'm very, very curious. I really do like a lot of like cumin and coriander. We use that a lot here, and pepper. So I've eaten sumac. So if anybody is not familiar with sumac, it it's used also like for pink lemonade. Let me see here, like staghorn. There's different types of sumac, but definitely one of the more notable one it's our staghorn sumac. So you might recognize it. Let me see here. There we go. And so you might see this. These are very common. They might grow in yards. You see them. They have no problem growing in disturbed soils. So you might find them a lot. I see them a lot on the edge of the road. Um, and then when you, there we go. These are absolutely delicious. So when these ripen, they're covered in these hairs, and so you can eat them. But what you do is you basically um, kind of crush them and kind of eat what's inside. So it's like this the juice that's inside. It's very citrusy, and then you spit out this covering, this that's hairy because it can agitate your throat. But it tastes absolutely delicious. And when it's dried, it can actually be dried and powdered and then used as a spice. And so apparently this is something that, especially like in the Middle East, is very popular to use as a spice. I've only known it growing up as eating it that way. So it was until, gosh, just a few years ago, that I found out that you can actually, it's also used as a spice, which was really cool. And but I had still hadn't tried it in that form yet, dried and powdered. So I was excited to add some to this mix because I haven't had the opportunity yet to try it that way. I've only had it like fresh off the tree. Uh, so yeah, so that was really cool. Um, yeah, I absolutely love sumac. I think it looks so beautiful, especially in the fall. Like the leaves when they start to turn red, it's like this ombre effect. It's so beautiful, and they're very commonly mistaken for tree of heaven. So they have these pinnate leaves that you could see why someone would think so, but there are different um, characteristics that would help you, and especially if it's a staghorn fern, one of the best indicators is if you touch the stem, it actually feels like velvet, which is one of the reasons it's called the staghorn sumac, um, is because it's the stem is very soft to the touch, much like the velvet on a stag's horn. So it's super cool. Really, really do recommend it. What is happening? Uh, Jules, our cat, has the zoomies, so he's currently running around like a maniac. Oh, but here, maybe I can just show you a couple of. Are you all right? He's literally running around. But here are some examples of glass gem corn. Um, isn't that absolutely beautiful? Uh, so I was completely taken with these. So gorgeous. I've seen colorful corn before. I even have like some of these like dried ears of corn that are very like with like red kernels and things like that. But this is a whole other level. They really almost look translucent. Oh, I know I'm gonna read that later. So here it's the story behind glass gem corn. So I will hold on. We'll click on that so that I can share that link out because I definitely want to check out where this I'm putting that in the chat to read later just to see where that how that started because it's very cool. Very, very beautiful. And if you have that opportunity to check it out, do so. Oh, here we go. Yes. And so they were saying the folks at the education center at the Edible Academy, they were saying, yeah, sure, these, eat them, you can pop them, but they're just so beautiful. So I feel like I either need to plant them or at least share them um, when I'm doing my in-person event. It feels bad to pop them. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to show you what they look like because I just thought they were so beautiful. And I did not realize that they came in this broad of like a color scheme. Uh, so beautiful. So let me see here. Holly, uh, okay, some questions about mushrooms. All right. I had not seen so many before. I sent you some photos. I thought people were growing them. Sure, yeah, I'll check. I have not been checking my inbox this like whole week because I've been trying to get this website done. So I'm sorry if anybody emailed me this last week. I literally have not opened my inbox. Um, but yes, one well, just with that information, um, it might not be necessarily that someone's growing them. It has been a lot wetter. If you're on the, especially on the East Coast, um, it's just with the rains, and also fall. If you're in an area that is experiencing fall right now, fall is the best time for the majority of the mushrooms that we get to see here on the East Coast, and it's cooler. We tend to get some rain, but especially the cooler temperatures, they yeah um, it's great for them. And so you get a lot of what they call flushes of mushrooms. So even with the Mycological Society, Brian and I have gone mushroom hunting in the fall with the big group because fall is prime time for mushrooms. So if they are sprouting a lot, it could just be because of the conditions. So sometimes one, it's because of the rain, right? Um, two, it could be the factor of the rain plus um, the extra moisture. Also, another reason why mushrooms might come up too is if in an area that has been recently mulched, so like wood chips. So sometimes either the spores were already on the wood chips, and so they're just because the mushrooms are just the fruiting body. They are just the sexual reproduction, like reproductive organ of the mushroom, similar to like a flower, and the flower is the sexual organ of the plant itself. So similar to that. So it's the mushroom is just that. The what's happening is the underground is the mycelial network that is that fungus. And so it could be that there were spores on those wood chips, and so when they were dropped there, it inoculated the wood chips, and they all started growing, and then it had its flush. Or it could be that the mycelium was already there, and it really is like wood loving. Is it saprophytic? There's a word for like wood loving mushrooms, but basically they now you're giving them a better food source. So they already love they love wood, and then you put wood chips in your yard, and now that actually helps them proliferate. So they start feeding on those wood chips, breaking those down, and then you see a bunch of mushrooms out of nowhere. So there's a couple reasons why you might start seeing a lot of mushrooms. Um, yeah, I love mushrooms. I absolutely love mushrooms. I want to even learn more. Like, I can identify a couple when I see them, out and about. But I really want to focus more on that. Um, Oh, Holly, what's the difference with those that grow nasty and the edible, the uh psyllium? Um, okay, so do you mean like how do you tell between like a fungus that's edible or inedible? There's a couple ways. So one good thing to know is if you're out and about and if you if let's pretend, hypothetically speaking, you come across a toxic mushroom, a mushroom that let's say would really, make you have a very bad day. um, you could touch it and be fine. So it's not, if you touch it, it's totally fine. Um, it's about ingesting them. Now, I would not recommend it, but for folks that are well versed, um, and there are a lot of lookalikes. So there are a lot of edibles that actually look like these that are not edible. Um, and so I've seen this in person. I am not comfortable enough to do this, what I'm about to tell you, but I've seen it. I've seen it, and they're perfectly fine. But they will take a small piece. So some of these veterans that we have in our mycological society that are just, have been um, amateur mycologists basically for decades. They will take a small piece and they will put it basically right on the tip of their tongue. And if it feels spicy or tingly, that's usually an indicator that it might be toxic. It's not something that you want to consume. But if nothing happens, there's no reaction when you taste it, then that tends to mean that it's okay to consume. Um, Again, they swear by this, and I've seen them do it. Brian and I were like, "What?" But they spit it out. So they kind of like they take a little tip, they put it on the tip of their tongue, and then they spit it out and they see if their body has a reaction. So that's one thing. But again, be I'm like still nervous about coming across. So I only will pick things that are edible that I for sure, without a doubt, know that that's the plant. If it looks like something that could potentially be something that's I would not want to cross paths with, I just rather not. I rather wait till my skill level gets enough where I can actually make sure I can tell the difference. Because yeah, I think that that's a little too that level of danger is a little too high for me. But yeah, so there's things like that. So learning how to identify them. Is the color right? The gills, that's one thing too. So some mushrooms have gills, some do not. Um, there is kind of learning so what the underside of the cap looks like. So that will be a very big indicator as to what type of mushroom you have in front of you. Also the texture. So there are some mushrooms where when you go to pull them apart, they might have more of like a flaky kind of consistency. They might rip apart very easily, and then others might be a little thicker and it's harder. There's also some, for instance, there was, I think it was a bolete that I had found that's color changing, where you have it whole, but when you cut it in half and you expose the inside to air, it turns blue. I actually got that on video. I have to post that up. But it's so beautiful, and it just turns this really gorgeous shade of blue. And that's another great indicator. So sometimes there's color changes. Um, Sometimes there's the texture, the color, the gills, where it's growing. That's also a big one. Where is it growing? What state are you in? What kind of region? So all of this comes into play when you're identifying mushrooms. And in terms of so there's mycelium, and so that's something that you just see with all mushrooms. With all mushrooms, there's mycelium that's happening somewhere underground, or it could be, even when you have bread that goes bad, gets affected with mold. That mold is spreading inside those hyphae. They're kind of like these strings. They're populating the bread, and that mold that you're seeing on top, again, are those reproductive organs that give out the spores. So If you ever see a little bit of mold on your bread, don't even try to eat it. I've heard people like they rip out the piece and they think they're fine. But if you're seeing the mold on top, it's because it's spread inside the bread, and all what you're seeing on top is just its reproductive organs. So if you see some mold on there, just stay away. Aguila chicken, yes, the chicken of the woods, yes, and that's one that Brian and I know for sure how to identify, and we have indeed um collected that. And it really does, even how it separates, it's like it has this consistency of like chicken breast. um and you can prepare it very similar to like tofu, and so it's great for anyone, for like a non meat dish that actually has a very similar consistency and can be kind of treated as such. Um, so good, so good. Yeah, chicken of the woods. Um, so great. We've found a lot of like different types of reishi, of Ganoderma, turkey tail as well. Um, yeah, so they're really great. Um, Deanna's asking, are all mushrooms that grow on wood chips edible? I do not believe so. So I think that I think in North America, I believe that all of the species, and again, I'm thinking I'm recollecting correctly, but I think that all the species of the mushrooms that grow on the trees, so like bracket mushrooms or mushrooms like even like oyster mushrooms, ones that are growing on the trees tend to be on like living trees, um, tend to be okay. They're not toxic. They might not taste great, but I believe that I think they are fine. Now, we do have introduced mushrooms, so do keep that in mind too. So there are some mushrooms that are growing in our forests that were introduced from different parts of the world, and they are not native mushrooms. So that happens too with mushrooms. So just like it happens with plants and animals, it also happens with mushrooms. So we do have invasive mushrooms. But as far as I understand it, like the ones that are growing up on the trees here in North America, we don't have any toxic ones. Um, but there are very much toxic species that are growing on the ground, that might be growing in wood chips, that are growing in heavily wooded areas and things like that. So I would be very, very careful. Just be very, very careful. I would recommend try to see if your area has a mycological society. So mycology is the study of mushrooms. What is happening? Hello, where are you going? M Maple, I don't know what is up with him. Maple has been climbing here, going on here, and dropping all my plants. Like he already broke like three or four of them. My some of he dropped a euphorbia. It just cracked in half. I have uh, oh my gosh, it's a quadrangularis. It's some type of it's like a grapevine, a succulent grapevine. And he snapped. I had a big chunk of new growth, and he had it fall to the ground and snap. I don't know what's his interest in this. Can you go? And now he's doing it again, and I don't know what's happening. He keeps climbing behind me here, like when I'm working, or if I leave my chair close to here, he decides he needs to get on here and climb on there when there's literally no space for him. They're risers, they're like acrylic risers. There's no space for him to walk. There's just plants there, and I don't know. So you caught that, because I don't know what is his interest that he needs to walk across that and just drop all my plants. He's just started doing this like these last few weeks. I don't know. Um, Holly, there's a tree stump that has a lot of things growing on it that look like turkey tail. They very well could be. Now there are things like false turkey tail. There is false turkey tail, and there are other species that look very similar to turkey tail. So again, big things to look at are those gills and the colors as well. So like turkey tails, I believe it's Trametes versicolor, if I'm not mistaken. Um, and so it's very distinctive color pattern. And then and also the check to see, the gills, because some have gills, some have pores. Um, some mushrooms have what are called teeth instead. So if you've ever seen lion's mane mushroom, kind of grows. It looks like it's drippy. Very, very cool. But one of my favorites are wood ear mushrooms. They're kind of like a very jelly-like mushroom. Very, very cool. Um, but yeah, and in terms of so there's mycelium and then there's psyllium. So I just wanted to, because it looks like it might have been spell check that put celium, but mycelium, yes, it's that the fungus itself. It's this collection of like hyphae, which are these like strings, um, and that is kind of like it's growing like a big massive. Think of like a massive spaghetti that's all connected. And so these hyphae go out and they're literally tasting the outside. And then what they're doing is they're actually releasing enzymes out of their system and they start to break down the food around them. So basically what mushrooms do, that mycelium tends to do is, where are you going? I'm trying to block him from going back up there. But they will essentially digest their food on the outside. So they kind of break that down and then they consume it. So it's very, very cool. I really like mushrooms. So if you get me on that, talking about mushrooms, yeah, that's a whole other thing I'm really interested in. And um, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Um, I actually just put together a mushroom reading list for Herbalists Without Borders, so I'll share that also with everyone here. Because yeah, there's a lot of great things. I definitely recommend even if you want just to kind of just do a small book just to kind of get you started. Mycelium Running by Paul Stamets. Um, Definitely check that out. It's a small book, but very, very good. It definitely will get you thinking about mushrooms differently. Barbara, things outside. So red leaf caladiums, a grafted cactus. Can they stay outside or should I dig them up and keep them inside? That's a great question. So it depends on where you're located. So if you are, for instance, here, like on the East Coast, but
I'm there with you're in Queens. I'm in Brooklyn. So I
oh,
wish you were
okay.
here. In fact, I wish you were right here. Or I was right there. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Hi. Yes. Okay. So Brooklyn, yeah, definitely. So with your caladiums, they will die back. So we got some pretty cold temperatures last night. That was the first time I felt that my heaters turned on. So our heaters are automatic, and so they only turn on if the temperature outside hits 55 degrees Fahrenheit. So I froze. Whoops. Whoops. Oh, ho, ho. I was like, I froze. Okay. But yes, so with the caladiums, they will die back. They tend to be okay as long as it doesn't freeze. So if you want to enjoy them for a little longer and let them die back naturally, because they're still out and about. What you can do is let them once they die back, you see those leaves starting to die. You can dig up that corm and go ahead and you can put it into either a paper bag or into a pot with soil and keep it indoors and water very sparingly. But you could do that. So that's an option. If it does freeze all the way through because the ground freezes, it most likely won't survive for spring. But in terms of and in definitely a grafted cactus, so usually with grafted cacti, the base might be like I've seen them use euphorbias, or I've seen them use dragon fruit cacti, different species of cacti, but they all
Yeah.
tend to be tropical.
Yeah, excuse me. I have three of these outside which got, this is one, they were the same size, but the ones outside just loved it. They are so much, bigger. They loved fresh air. But I see them in the park, in fact, which has always been a mystery. How did they survive the winter right here? So I wonder if anyone leaves them out. I really didn't think they can stay, but
No,
do
no,
you do
they
you know? Yeah, the mysteries of
yeah. So maybe someone might have put them out, but then they definitely wouldn't survive a big freeze unless there was something that is, that area doesn't didn't get hit as bad by the weather or something like that. But usually those would not survive in freezing
That's what I think.
temperatures.
And also my big monstera, this is also I have three pots. I hacked it. This is about a quarter of the big one. This is a baby. And I thought I was going to plant these. These are two, but they are very leggy and enormous, and they ought to be hanging. I just have them in a flower pot with water because I really don't know where to plant them because they're bigger than, than the house here, than our little space. So, and they look nice. They ought to be hanging somewhere, but I don't know how to handle them, the little ones. But other stuff, this plant is really crazy healthy. If any of you lived here, I would give you all of these leaves. It's just a leaf, and they root like crazy. I wanted to show you. It's so healthy that I can't throw it away. It's got to go in a pot. I wish it could go to one of you. Oh, where is that baby? But yeah, they're in water. They're doing unbelievable. But yeah, you were saying, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, of course. And yeah, with the Monstera too. I mean, you could keep them in water full time if you
Oh,
wanted
yes.
to. Yeah, so like those sections, you could absolutely we actually
Yeah,
have
that's all it
two.
is. It's in a pot, in a regular flower pot, but it's only water. While I
Yeah.
was waiting to find out.
Oh yeah, I mean you can absolutely keep them like that. We have two monsteras growing like that. We got these $5 cuttings that had like one leaf each. And we put them into the big mason jars, and I put some like white pebbles in there so that the roots have kind of something to hold on to. And yeah, and they're just putting out leaves, growing like
Oh,
that. So
thank
you
you.
can.
I'm gonna do that. If you say they could survive in water, I'll
Oh yeah.
experiment with those pieces. But yeah, originally it was like an $8 beautiful, beautiful plant. And it's gone for a million years, a million years. I've given so many pieces so many times, and I just love it. But anyway, a long time ago, you called me the geranium whisperer, and
Yes.
this was a very bad season. After
Oh.
like also about 12 years, 8 years, and I had 7 pots inside. They have flowers all year round. I just finished saying goodbye and putting away just a few cuttings into one pot and see if anything wants to regenerate. But yeah, it's like the end of an era here that only
Oh.
only because we talked about them
Yes.
so much and such good advice you give all of us. Yeah, that's it. One pot of babies after many years. That's it. That
Yeah, I feel like this whole season has been odd. It's just been very odd.
oh,
I don't
thank you. I thought it was me for sure. That
know. No, I had more clients telling me earlier in the summer about their plants burning. So I had never had that many because I do houseplant consultations, and I've never had that many folks bringing that up where they've had their plants in the same place, and that was like the story. It's like it's the same place that they've had this plant for years. And this year, for some reason, a lot of them were showing like signs of sun bleaching. So it's almost like it's like they get burned, and they it kind of gives it like a white translucent type of look to it. So, like because they're literally getting scorched. Um, so
I
odd.
was one of them. We fixed, this baby was in the same window for 40 years. I had three pots and now you see one, and it was all pale yellow with
Mhm.
red stripes. It looked like it had, I don't know what, like strep throat or something crazy. I didn't know what. And you said definitely move it. I had thought I have to do some, take it out of the heat. Look at him. Look at him. It's fantastic.
It's great.
These were three babies, and I would like to transplant it, but I'm afraid to even bother it because there were three. But
Yeah.
this is fantastic. Look how healthy. But this was one of those, just what you said, burning. I didn't know they could get burnt in the same
Yeah.
window. All right, thank you
Yeah.
so
Oh, you're
much.
very, very welcome. Yeah, it's that was so weird. It was like I got a lot of folks about burning, um, a lot of yeah, just like the temperature. The temperature was weird. We had also a lot of humidity here in New York. Like New York City was like super humid, and like really, really hot. And so a lot of plants, a lot of folks were like, "What's happening?" And so I got a lot of folks about like mold, especially. I know we got hit really hard by thrips, so we lost a nice amount of plants. And that was pretty oof. And a lot of plants I currently have are just stumps. So I have like my Burl Marks, fantasy. Um, what else? I have some my silver sword. So a lot of my philodendrons right now are sticks. So they are coming back. They are coming back, but right now they are sticks. So those leaves, I think two of our paraíso verdes. So yeah, like those thrips really went to town. They really went to town. And I actually had found aphids on my Stephania. I have a Stephania erecta. Um, I found aphids on her, but again, I would rather have aphids. They're super easy. You just wash it off, you just clean them, and it's totally fine. Um, and so I was able to get them off. And I know she's gonna die back in a few weeks anyway. Um, so I got her 2 winters ago. So I think, yeah, I got her like a September or an October. Um, and it was, yeah, 2 years ago. So I think it was 2021. And then she grew a little bit during that winter and then died back. So I waited, and then in the spring, she started growing her vine. I had it here with a grow light, thinking that it would do a lot better. But what I got, I know I used to show her on videos because she was growing on a trellis. So she got her vine was over 3 feet long, um, but her leaves were like this big, and I was like, "What is happening?" So it grew a huge, 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 huge vine, but the leaves were super tiny. Uh, so I was like kind of disappointed, but happy that at least she was growing. Again in the fall, so it was like she actually survived until like the beginning of December. She again died back. Um, and then let me see here because I took some pictures because I sent to my mom. Um, oh, there we go. So that's her now, but this is just a piece of her, so she keeps going. So now she does have a 3 foot vine, but look at the size of those leaves. So though that's how big they're supposed to be. And what changed was that I actually moved her from here to a western window. And so that was an experiment for me. I wanted just to see Because I mean, I had her here with the grow light, and it's just what I was getting was leggy growth and not very big leaves. And I put her in that western window in the kitchen, and she grew her little vine. She slammed onto the glass, so like it's like hit the glass, and then the leaves started growing, and they literally are growing up against the glass. So I know that once it starts getting colder, I have to pull her away because the glass gets very, very cold, so she could get damaged. Um, but she gave me these glorious, glorious, glorious leaves, and I was so, so happy. So I know she has a couple, maybe a good month left. And then she will die back, and again, she'll look like a potato. So if nobody has ever seen what the Stephania looks like, it's very much like a potato. Um, Let me see if I can show you what they look like real quick, just so that you have some context as to what in the world am I talking about. So it's this. So I got it for $15, and it looked like a little potato, literally. Um, and I actually have her growing. So as you can see, they grow like a vine. Um, so you can create like a little trellis for them, and they'll grow up that trellis. So really, really cool looking. They kind of remind me of like nasturtiums or like Pelias. They really have this really cool circular look. I really love it. But uh yeah, um they want moisture, but not too much moisture. So what I actually have her growing in is leca. So I actually have her growing in leca. And so what I did is I put a clear container inside of a display pot, and it's full of leca. And then what I do is I fill it up with water until I just see the water right like under the surface. And she put out little roots that go into the leca. So I fill up that reservoir basically, and then I just leave her like that. And then I give her like periods of like flooding and then drought. So and then I wait until I notice that it's dry again, and then I go, okay, boop, and I fill it up again, and that's all I do. And she has been very, very happy that way because I don't want to risk. I would rather her be a little too dry than her be a little bit too wet because she will, the bulb will start to rot. And so I would rather, see that she needs a little bit of water than go, oh yeah, I'm keeping her like too wet all the time. So, but she's doing great. I'm really happy that now with the second year she is growing beautifully. So I think like, all right, I have the hang of her because that was my first time having one of these. Um, I really like aquatics type plants, so things like ponytail palms, and I have quite a couple caudiciform plants. I have some, I think it's a Gepardia. I'm not sorry, not Gepardia, Jatropha. Um, Jatrophas and different species like that that have these like um kind of these hardened stems that they fill up with water, and they can go long amounts of time like without having water consistently, and I really love that. So highly recommend to try this out. They're much cheaper now. So I was able to get mine for 15. I've seen folks selling them for even like $20. And a few years back, gosh, these were running for like $80. So it's so nice to see them much more accessible, and I see them much more commonly now in plant shops. So you can go and they'll have them for sale, and you can even order them from Etsy. Um, so really, really accessible now. But if that's ever like caudiciform plants, there we go, caudiciform. So these types of plants. So see, they're chunky. So plants like that, they have these like big reservoirs essentially. Um, so I love these. I absolutely love these odd looking plants. Um, they're so interesting. There's like adeniums, like the Madagascar palms. They look very, very odd, and ant plant. Um, so yeah. So if this also strikes your interest, there's so many different types. There's so many different types, and you should definitely check them out because it's really fun. I really really like them. And one big thing too is when you have like a really busy schedule, these are really great plants to have because most of them, they're gonna be fine if you forget to water them for 2 weeks. Like they'll be totally fine. So that's what I like because a lot of like my succulents, like including like my euphorbia and stuff, I water them about every 2 to 3 weeks. And so with a lot of my caudiciform plants, it's the same thing. So they're timed very similarly and they're happy just like that. So uh yeah, if you have a busier schedule and you like weird plants, um caudiciform plants might be something you want to check out. Just, you know, they might end up becoming an obsession as they have in this house. There's quite a couple uh, caudiciform types of plants here. Um, but yeah, uh, yes, yes, A. Aguilar, to give a presentation about wild edibles, not only like nutritious but also medicinal. Absolutely, yes. I did do one a few weeks back, I think, on some uh like weeds, the herbs that you could find around here in New York City, and yeah, and how you could actually consume those. So there's definitely a replay of that available. So if you look at the replay folder, that's definitely in there. Oh, Barbara, any advice to discourage a raccoon? Ooh, that's hard. Raccoons are hard. They the only
I
thing, uh-huh.
I have such a tiny little thing outside. It's really tiny, but must be a visitor. When I come out in the morning, my little tiny bit of a few plants and a little grass, it's ripping up the grass. It can't be anything else. And I don't want it to decide to live here. Yeah, the city of New York offered to send me a pamphlet I saw three of them at night at a time, and I called the 311 the next day, and they said they'll send me a pamphlet. They don't come for that. If any of you are here that would like to know. But anyway, yeah, just that was funny. Not good, but it was funny.
No, I've never heard of them sending. I'm so sorry. Sending a
Yeah,
pamphlet.
don't even. But yeah, I don't know anything. I think
Yeah,
it's tough. It's a tough one.
it is
Oh,
insanely a tough
I'm
one.
reading. I'm reading. Yes, Suzanne.
Oh, mothballs or red pepper flakes. That maybe. I've never heard of using those to deter them. The only ways I've seen that folks have been able to deter raccoons is more so just kind of having like locking up their plants, like creating kind of like a barrier that the raccoons can't go through, and so they're like, oh, okay. But they're crazy. They are a friend of ours on Saturday. She was actually showing us a security video. So she has videos, sorry, videos. She has cameras. She has cameras in different points of their house that are triggered by motion sensors for security. And her cat, you see her cat like right by a window, and so the camera started filming. And it was a raccoon was on her fire escape, and it started creating a hole in the screen. So you just see the raccoon like this on the screen. You can't really see what it's doing. And then all of a sudden you see its head through the screen in her apartment, and you see the cat smacking the raccoon on the face. And then the raccoon launches back and then leaves. And then her cat went out into the fire escape through the hole.
I'm afraid.
And
Yeah, I'm afraid of that. Yeah,
yeah, so
that's what did your friends do? I mean, they
like, yeah, like what, and you would think, oh yeah, I have screens. Like I'm good. No, no, apparently not. Um, so that was, I've never seen that before. I told her she has to put that online because you just see the raccoon's head go right through. So they are very you know, when they have an idea, um yeah, they will follow through, and they're very, they're very is it dexterous or something, where they, like their hands, their little hands are very capable of like opening things, and yeah, so they're very notorious for that, and they're very, very intelligent. So um
And
I
they're
mean, I
beautiful, and I don't
they
want to
are,
hurt
they are.
any animal, but I don't want it to do that, right? I'm afraid of that.
Yeah. And so I'm not
Thank you.
sure. Mothballs, I mean, hey, I've never heard of using mothballs. Um, oh, even for deer, that's interesting. Yeah.
The squirrels do not care about any kind of hot peppers that we tried all the time. They and all this critter ritter that have a heart with the hotter pepper and orange rind grated. Nothing.
Nothing.
They keep doing what they like to do. But yeah, try again.
Yeah. No, man. Yeah, I'm trying to think, like there are like two raccoons that live in our neighbor's tree, and yeah, it's become like we're, the only thing, like we now with our the garbage cans that we got have like they're like locking. Um, I mean, there's just like, I feel like that's the only surefire way, is if they can't find a food source, if it's just like locked away, it's inaccessible, then it might just deter them to not even check in that area. But hey, mothballs, I'd never I'd never heard of using that. Um, so maybe, gosh, yeah, I'm sorry that you're having to deal with them, because yeah, I know that they can be very, very troublesome. I used to actually work with an engineer who was building a new type of fish filters years ago, and he actually had set up these like ponds on his roof, and they were supposed to be kind of like to test out like the different prototypes of the different filters to see how quickly they could filter out the water and things like that. And so he had a bunch of just like regular, like those dollar goldfish that you get, and he had those ponds full of them. And we ended up having to put covers on them because there was a huge tree that was right next to the building. So if the raccoons would climb the tree, jump onto the roof, because it was literally like a 2 foot uh, jump. It was like right next to it. And because we started finding dead goldfish that were half eaten all over the roof, and they were just going in there. And he actually caught them once. He went at night up onto his roof just to see, and he saw a bunch of raccoons. So yeah. Oh gosh, Doug, I'm so sorry. So Doug lost audio. Can everyone else hear me okay? Oh, okay. Okay. So that's odd. Um, but yeah, so gosh, yeah, they're notorious. They're notorious. Oh, Terry is asking, does this category include ZZ plants? So the caudiciform plant. So no. So ZZs, I believe, I I believe they are in the aroid family. I think they are in the aroid family. Yeah. But what they do is that they create these rhizomes beneath the soil. And so they also look like potatoes, but it's beneath the soil, and these are more root storage organs. And well, the rhizomes are technically are like, if you scientifically are modified stems that are growing underground, but it's working more of like, yeah, it's underground. And so caudiciform, it's the stem itself. So the stem itself is this rough type of texture, and it's holding that extra moisture inside there. And so they'll look like, almost like a lot of caudiciform plants. They're it's kind of like a visual cue that they need some water, because it starts to look wrinkled. Like the stem itself starts to look very wrinkly. And then when you give them water, it's like in 24 hours, you just see it. It's like a balloon that gets inflated again. I have this one here that is up for watering, so I gotta water these guys in the next few days. Um, and this is I always forget how to Vakia adulis. But this little guy, I got it and it was just this little thing. And so it grew its vine and it has its little leaves. But here you could see where it's starting to look kind of wrinkled and it's a little soft to the touch. And then once I water it, it plumps right up. And yeah, these are super cool. But like yeah, I have a few plants like that and it's a great visual cue. Because then I don't overwater them. Um, so I love that. But yeah, ZZs, yeah, it's more underground and they can stay, yeah, but it's similar. They're similar in terms of watering. But yeah, they don't fall under the same category as caudiciform plants. Um, yeah, and let me see. Betty, in Florida, I pull up my caladium bulbs when the leaves die back in the late fall. I tried to leave them the first year, and the squirrels ate them. Oh my God! No, I did not realize that squirrels would find those appetizing. Oh man. Um, oh, Holly, I eat fresh lion's mane, and I get tired of the taste of mushrooms easily. I wish we had some info in Chicago. Yeah, I mean something you can do too is I would highly recommend, I think it might be available to non-New Yorkers as well, but I took this course with Cornell, and it's called the Mushroom Educators course. And you can see they do have, I'm like, what is this? And it's one of the kernels for the glass corn. Um, but you can see uh if they will take students that are not from New York. They do have a free resources when you actually look up their I'll actually share that with everyone because that might be something that folks would be interested in. So it's called the Cornell Mushroom Educator Program. Um, Here we go. So I'm gonna put this in the chat because when you go down here, so the application isn't open yet, so you can't apply. But here, so if you click your download folder of documents, it actually there's a free curriculum that you can download, and there's a bunch of great resources and lessons and things like that to get you started. So if you don't qualify, let's say, to do their course, they still want to make some of that information available. Um, so check that out. I know that some of the resources I created is going to be added to that zip folder. So that was part of our project, was creating some of these resources. So I made a couple handouts in English and Spanish, and I also created a mushroom like flashcard game, and that it's available for you to print out and then cut your cards out and use. And so I know that they're going to be posting this up for folks to use. Um, but yeah, and so it's like about like the steps of growing a mushroom. Um, I put the steps, I put the vectors of contamination. So when you are growing your mushrooms, what are I think it's six. No, I think there's six vectors, and so it's like six things that you want to be careful of. So like insects can bring bad mold, can introduce bad mold to your mushrooms, pets, humans, containers, you know. So yeah, it's like a whole little flashcard game that I created. So I know that they're going to be available there, but I could also send them to you personally if anybody requests that. I'm happy to do that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun to make, but I did not realize, yeah, um, gosh, that yeah, their application looks like it's not open yet. Um, And and with mushrooms, just be wary of eating mushrooms raw. So with usually you want to cook them for at least like 10 to 15 minutes. And this is because they have these chemicals that basically, if in our digestive system, it can cause a lot of like inflammation and upset and agitation, basically. Um, so sometimes that's why when people will eat mushrooms and they haven't been cooked all the way through, they would get a stomach ache. And it's not that it's toxic, but rather it's very difficult for your gut to break it down. And so if you introduce heat to the mushroom by cooking it a little bit before consuming it, it helps your body break it down much easier, and you won't feel like bloated or get a stomach ache if that ever happens. Um, so yeah, so it's good to try to avoid eating them raw, and definitely cook them a little bit. Cook them a little bit. And oh, and A Aguilar, you said papa. Oh my gosh, I have seen papas. Every time I've come across a papa, it's not ready, and or it's overripe and it's done and it's not edible anymore. I want to try a papa so bad. I really want to try a papa. So for those that don't know, papa is kind of very similar. It kind of looks like a little banana. Um, and it's here native to North America. Um, and apparently it's like super, super sweet, and it's like absolutely amazing. And I want to try one so bad. But yes, I have not I have not had the opportunity to try one, and that makes me so, so sad because I really want to try one. Um, Something I actually learned about papas a few years ago is that there's a community garden about 10 minutes away from me that they had some papas put in. So they were very young and they were flowering. And I was looking it up more about their flowering process. If there are, I wanted to know if they're dioecious or, so if there's male plants and female plants. And what's really interesting is that they can actually change from one season to another, and that I learned that that's why they're not so readily available, because they're not a fruit that you could just kind of cultivate in a huge orchard, because they can change from season to season. So let's say you buy a bunch of plants because they all had female flowers, let's say, and then you have them, and um, you set them up and you're like, all right, so next growing season, I'm good. I just got to pollinate them and I'm good to go. And then the next season comes around and they'll put out male flowers. And then, and then you can't, so it's like, it's too unpredictable. So it's too unpredictable so that you're unable um, to like set up like a really big, like at big scale. So maybe a smaller scale is very possible if you can kind of uh figure out like the percentages and maybe see what might cause a shift. Because I was reading that it could be like temperature, it could be something in the soil, but that it's very normal for them to just put out a different flower the following season, that is not the same flower that they put out the season before. Uh, and yeah, and so I'm like, oh man. So I can see why it's a little difficult to get your hands on them, but oh man, I really, really, really want one. Absolutely want one. Um, oh, yeah, that's too complicated. Oh, yeah. Oh, with the mushrooms and growing them. There's actually really easy ways too. If you go to like a Home Depot, they now sell these boxes, that is a growing box and it has everything in there. So all you do is, I think you're just supposed to add a little bit of moisture, and then you're supposed to cut the bag open, like you put like an X on it, and you put it somewhere where it will not, it will get a little bit of light, but not get like burnt. Um, and they just grow. So it's already a block that has been inoculated and it's ready to go. And then you can have like fresh oyster mushrooms and things like that. So that's absolutely, you can do that. Gabby says, um, one thing I forgot to put, oh, on my Visit Philly list for you, is the Kennett Square Mushroom Festival. Apparently, Kennett Square is the nation's mushroom leader. It's pretty amazing, and it was in early September. That is awesome. Yes, Gabby, thank you again. Gabby put together this like monster list of things to do in Philly. Um, Yes, thank you so much. Oh, that is so cool. I definitely I need to go to do another mushroom festival. It's been a while. I know they're doing one. I think it's actually coming up this weekend or something, but we're going to Comic-Con. So it's our first Comic-Con since before COVID. So we would go every year with our friends. Um, and gosh, yeah. So we're we're very excited, very, very excited to be going back. I'm gonna be wearing I have a Pikachu um costume that I'm wearing, and it's a onesie, and and I'm wearing on another day. If anybody knows the movie Madagascar, you know King Julian, the lemur. Um, yeah, I'm putting that as well for another day. Um, but yeah, yeah. Holly, I always cook mushrooms um in a saute. I'm interested in them, but I don't want to grow a lot of plants. Yeah. Um yeah. They'll they would quickly become like another thing another thing that you might end up collecting a little too much of. I currently have um some different types of mycelium in my fridge that I'm actually going to be bringing to our friend upstate for him to grow. I have a bunch of like reishi mycelium, and I have reishi, and I think I have maitake as well. So um, and I have to go share them with him because they'll definitely be able to put them on their land because they have like woods, like actual forest. Um, and so it'll be great for him to grow, and he wants to grow them. So that's gonna be awesome. Suzanne says, that's what happened with my zucchini. Makes the blooms, but no female ones until a couple weeks ago. And now um and now they don't and now there's no flowers, no male flowers to pollinate them. Yes, that happens. That absolutely happens. Um, so a lot of plants do that. I think Jack in the Pulpit also does that, where they'll come at one year there'll be a male plant, and then the following year it will be a female plant that comes out because they're perennials. It'll keep coming back. And I think it's also I think Jack in the Pulpit is in the aroid family as well. So that's yeah. So they're super, super cool. Um, Tanya, how's the Spiritus Santi doing? Yes. So that one, yeah, the I'm not sure what's going on, but the mix that it was in wasn't that great. So Brian had to actually switch up the mix, and because it was not happy in the mix that it was in. I think it was retaining too much moisture. So he had to put it in a much more airy type of mix. So we had a lot of roots that were rotted, so we had to clean that out. And so I think right now it's one of those that is a stick. But yeah. So but they're doing great. A lot of these sticks, they have the signs of new growth. And so they're coming back, but it's difficult. I mean, I do appreciate that though, I have to say, in about like philodendrons and monstera, that's something I do appreciate very much, that the plant can go through like a really rough patch. Let's say it gets an infestation or something and you end up, losing leaves. I love that you can bring back that stump, because that's not very much the case with other species. So, like if a cactus, if a part rots, that's basically the whole cactus is gone. But with a lot of these, like the climbing philodendrons, a lot of monstera, even scindapsus, you know, something can happen to the plant that you could still save a chunk and continue growing it. Like even with monsteras, like the whole root system can rot. You give it a chop and you can still save all of the above parts and just, you know, cut them and keep going, keep going. So I do appreciate their resilience. They definitely want to survive. They want to survive. Um, oh, thank you, Gabby, for posting about the mushroom festival. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I'd like to really do more festivals. Um, just to do that. I know I was doing a lot of volunteering with the Mycological Society with their community outreach, but I've been just so swamped with other stuff that I have to do. But I really loved doing that. So doing tabling where you have what's it called? Like dried mushrooms, and you get to share them out with everybody, and folks can look and see, and yeah, that's always a lot of fun. So I really like doing those types of displays that are very interactive, so that especially kids, so that they can come and really look. And we actually developed like some coloring book pages. So that we had like an area of our table where we had little chairs so that kids could come and do some coloring as well. So yeah, those are always fun. Um, uh, Oh yeah, Brenda. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, especially, for folks. So, um, yeah, bringing the plants and doing stuff like that. So we have our plant clinic next week, and then the open forum. So definitely, I hope folks, yeah, we can get on have planty folks on camera showing their plants as well, and doing that. Yeah, definitely want more of that again too. Um, and let me see. I just want to make sure I got through all of the questions. I do have a hard stop at 1 today, so I have a meeting at 2. I need to prepare for. I have to do some math. I have to do some reporting and stuff for that, and then I have a meeting right after that. So I'm like booked with back-to-back meetings today, and then working more on the website. I'm really excited though. I can actually show you real quick just so that you get a sneak peek of what I'm doing. Um, yeah. Oh, here we go. If you go to preview. All right, cool. So I can just give you a little, whoop, I froze. Um, oh, thank you so much. Brian has brought me caffeine. I appreciate you. Thank you, babe. Um, So here, just so that you see what I'm working on, and so I've been creating this new manual for our coordinators. And so I've been going through the manual, and now I'm having to kind of edit the manual because now I have these new tools. So I'm having to basically go into the manual, fix it, and then as I fix it, import these sections into this, and I'm able to do like these lessons. Um, so I'm able to do like things like this where I can import stuff. Really excited. It just makes it so cool. And then you would like continue the lesson, the like next lesson. Um, so it's super cool. I'm really, really excited. I've been having so much fun playing with this. You can go back in your lessons. Um, so very excited. I have the quiz questions. So I'm first importing all the lesson documentation and any like supplemental reading, anything that's in here, doing that. And what I'm excited is that then I can use this tool to build out my own courses. So, yeah, because that's something that's been I've been like struggling with is like, well, I wanted to implement things like quizzes, and I want to put some pre-recorded classes that I've worked on, and have them, built out to be more of like a course where it can let it run in the background, so I can have it on the website. So if folks wanted to learn on their own time, um, if they can't like come to a live course, they can still do something, and also like take a quiz or something to kind of show that they understand. Um, and so working with this and learning how to play around with this has made me so happy because I didn't realize, that this was something that was accessible to me to use. And yeah, I highly recommend Zoho One. It's changing. It's this is not a not a sponsorship at all. But I'm in love with the program. I'm seriously in love with the program. And I'm able to now manage my mail list from there. I'm able to uh, do create like a knowledge base. So like, like FAQs. So if people ask questions, I can actually send them like the article link and it'll open up with the answers, or I can attach several articles. So if they have multiple questions, it's like, oh, here you can find all the information you're looking for. I can like create automated email campaigns and my calendar, everything. It's there. So I'm doing this right now for HWB, for Herbalists Without Borders. But then I am gonna also be implementing it on my on my own on Urban Garden. So you guys get to see what things are on the horizon. So yeah. Suzanne, yeah, well, so we have the HWB has oh, you're welcome, Barbara. Yeah, we have a website, but it's something that it just needs to be redone. It's not very there's certain aspects like in like the resources, we want to streamline them a little bit more. Um, and also a lot of this stuff is kind of like in different Google Drives. We want to like centralize everything and streamline everything. So it's not completely from scratch because a lot of like the copy is there, the images are there. Um, but we're kind of like repackaging it, and then adding extra resources, so extra functionality. So like a community calendar, that's something that we didn't have. Things like this, like the manual where you actually work through it like as if it's a course. You go through the chapters of the manual. Um, so it's like all this extra functionality is coming. And all these forms too that I have built, I've been able to build in there. So any surveys, like membership forms, all that. Uh, so yes, the site we are working on is on WordPress, and then this tool is Zoho One, and so they integrate really nicely. So yeah, so I'm very excited about it. So it's it's just what's it called? Oh, according to the thank you, Gabby. Um, but yeah, so with the website, it's just yeah, it's kind of doing experiencing an overhaul and a really nice update, and I'm hoping that yeah, that folks will enjoy it, and we'll get more, more out of it, because I think that's just an issue. Sometimes some of this stuff is like available on Google Drive, and some people that's not accessible to them. Some of the forms are not mobile friendly. So it's like things like that. We're just trying to mitigate, take all that feedback and have a website that fulfills the needs of everyone. So I'm excited. It's so much work, but I am very excited, and it's nice to see that it's coming together. So definitely happy about that. But yeah, and Brenda says fall is here, and the sites around Mapleton, Georgia is all about orange, pumpkins, mums, and changing leaf colors. Yes, it's thank you, Brenda. Yeah, it's amazing. I really love it. Going even yesterday, for just a few hours to check out the botanical garden. Like, yeah, it's all pumpkins, like pumpkins everywhere. We saw a bunch of sweet gum trees are starting to turn, and it's just really sweet to see everything changing, and I'm very excited about it. And I am even wearing my let me see here, some fall planty Halloweeny shirt today. So yeah, all of the Halloween fall clothing has been put back into my closet. So you might see I have a lot of things that have like leaves, fall leaves. Fall is my favorite time of year. So yeah. So you see that a lot. But all right, I think I got here we go. Oh yeah, thank you, Deanna. Yes, Wix. Yes, I've heard Wix. Suzanne, if it needs, oh, that's wonderful. Oh, Wix does that too. Yeah. My site on Urban Garden, I have it on Shopify. So I know there's free versions of Shopify, and Shopify does indeed have like with the shopping cart too. So check it out. Try to see what works for you. I would say to kind of shop around. Definitely shop around. But all right, I have to hop off. But yes, you too, Suzanne. Have a great week. Everyone, have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. It's Indigenous Peoples Day, so definitely celebrate. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Please, yeah, please stay safe. Thank you, Deanna.
You're
Yeah,
welcome. Don't
definitely
forget to
stay.
take a break too sometime for yourself too, Jocelyn.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling myself that like I just need to push through this week, and even my look how big
Oh,
uh
wow.
I need this to get me through today. But yeah, I'm just like if I can do this, then I'll sleep more next week.
Good. Good.
I'm gonna try to push through. But thank you so much, everyone, and please stay safe. And yeah, I hope I'll see you next time. Have a great one, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye for now.